Abbott Elementary, Season 5, Episode 7, GoofGirl, and Season 5, Episode 8, Birthday are over, but class is back in session here on Recap Kickback presents an Abbott Elementary Post Show Recap. That's right, it's me, your host, Chappell, and I am back again to talk to you about another 2 episodes of Abbott Elementary as we are now in our winter season, our small winter break, before we come back in January to complete the first half, I guess, of Season 5. And with me, per usual, the principal of the podcast, Gia Worthy. Gia, welcome back.
Thank you, Chappell, and I hope you don't mind, but I believe I will be a goof girl or a goof gal for this podcast. I know usually the goofballs are boys only, as the name suggests. However, that was honestly the wildest joke that they could have made with it, and it's so funny. I enjoyed the hell out of these 2 episodes. They were great.
Oh, absolutely. Same. I love Abbott. I love it because it's such a low stress show. It doesn't like, to me, I come in and I'm not concerned about anybody's health. You know, I don't think anybody's going to just leave in the middle of the season because they all seem to be having a great time. But then you always get surprised by where they go with some of the jokes. The goofballs versus goof girls thing was hilarious. And we have so much more of that to talk about in these 2 episodes. First, I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast, for subscribing. RecapKickback.com/subscribe to keep up with our Abbott Elementary coverage. And you can catch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@RecapKickback to come look at our beautiful faces and join the comment section and let us know what you are thinking about this season of Abbott. Because yes, Gia, we talked about the Goof Girl in episode 7, and then we talked about a big 30th birthday for Janine in episode 8. And so we have to get into all of that and more. But first, Gia, how have you been?
I have been good. I had a great Christmas, Chappell. I don't know about you, but it's been a great
Kwanzaa
holiday
to everybody
season.
Who observes. Yes,
joyous Kwanzaa to everyone. It's been a great holiday season. I actually took an extra week off of work than what I already get, so I have about 3 weeks off before I go. I'm a week and a half in, so now really I have a week left off, but it has been great. I have no money. I have probably gained weight since I started, but I have drank, ate, and went to do whatever I wanted during these past 3 weeks, and it's been amazing. So
yes,
for those of you thinking about going to January doing New Year's resolutions, just know it's been great otherwise, you know? Who says you have to better yourself all the time?
Yeah, new year, new me, not all the time. Sometimes same me, new year.
As somebody with a January birthday, Chappell, I have to say that, like, the idea that people go into January right off the bat saying that they're going to be better people, that they're not going to drink alcohol, they're not going to have fatty foods, they're going to go to the gym regularly, I think it really puts a damper on January birthdays. Like, now is when you want to behave, be on your best behavior. No, that's like a March thing. You know, give us some time. Give us a little bit of time to still be in the partying spirit. Like, you can't even go anywhere because of how cold and snowy it is.
Right. So live your life a little bit longer while you still can. How about that?
Save your New Year's resolutions for March. That's my like stamp of approval, because it's Black History Month in February. So, like, again, we want to get into shenanigans then too.
Agreed. And we did have some shenanigans to talk about on these 2 episodes of Abbott, including let's talk about ugly babies. Barbara is a grandmother, and all the teachers are stunned because although this child is destined for greatness, she's still in the ugly phase. She's still ugly. Mr. Johnson, however, came out of the womb camera ready, but everybody could not be Mr. Johnson. And so they said once you let the baby sit for a while, you know, it'll start looking better. And I think the newer pick that Taylor does send is a prettier version, or a more attractive version of that baby. But Gia, ugly babies are a real thing.
Oh yeah, no, I don't find babies to be a particularly cute thing until they start gaining feet. You know, when they're like fresh out the womb and people like, if they have their mother's eyes or they have their dad's nose. How do you know?
How do you know that? You don't know that.
They look like a potato. Like they don't. There really isn't. I really felt this cold open here because I don't know. I've never had kids, but if I did, those babies would not be shown to the world until they're at least like 3 months in. You know, you want some time for them to bake a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, I was an ugly baby, like, and I know this because 'cause I have a baby picture of myself and I looked hideous. Yeah, my eyes were closed, my mom was heavily sedated, and so was I. Which I
Yep.
mean, goes to show that sometimes those things do linger. Because the sedation part, I love it. Sedate me, please,
Yeah.
drug me up, and
I
so
am pro medicine for anything that I would not be willing to withstand myself, such as child labor. Like, who am I to say all natural is better? It does not
right.
sound like it from my point of view.
I don't live by a knife all natural now. Okay. So I'm
Mhm.
not gonna push that on anybody else. But about look, within the year, okay, within that first year, I was a handsome little baby. Okay. I was doing
Mhm.
some modeling and stuff like that. I have some photos. I might post them online. Who knows? Who see? You might see my old modeling photos from back in the day, back when I started off. But yeah, but day one, fresh out the viscera, it's crazy. And so Barbara, she's a grandma. I think to grandparents, a lot of times there's nothing you can show them about their grandchild that would make them say that baby is ugly or something like that. She was very proud of her first grandchild, but my granny, she's honest to a fault. She would tell you if your baby is ugly, and I think everybody could agree that Barbara's grandchild was ugly initially. That's all I'll say.
I did not think Abbott Elementary was going to be the show to make fun of ugly babies, but they went there, and I think it's a better show for it because this is something we have to be able to admit to ourselves and to the world. My mom says I was a gorgeous baby, and frankly, I don't believe her. I think she was, uh, you know, I think she was maybe trying to make me feel better a little bit, but
Mm,
like first out the womb, no, you
no.
just, yeah. Like I was your first baby, so like you don't know what other babies look like at that point. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay to admit that like I just needed a little time to settle. I think I
Yeah.
could have been a Gerber. I could have been like the first biracial Gerber baby if I wanted to be. But once I got a little more set
Yeah.
in my facial features. But first off, no, absolutely not.
The Gerber baby even had a little time to cook. It wasn't
Yeah,
like this is a fresh out Gerber
there's a
baby.
reason that the Gerber babies are like 6 to 8 months when they first like they don't have like a preemie or a newborn Gerber baby in there.
Yeah, doesn't
You
happen.
just need time.
So we have a couple of points of conflict in this episode. Obviously, we have the titular goofball, but let's get to her in a minute. We got to talk about Janine because you and I questioned amongst ourselves what it looked like if Janine was going to start a fashion club, because Janine has had some moments, okay, of fashion in the first early season of Abbott. She very much dresses like Miss Frizzle, like some of these items that she's wearing, earrings, necklaces, chain, all the jewelry. It looks like she handmade it a lot of times, and
Yeah,
which is fine. But I don't know if handmade stuff is supposed to look handmade. It's supposed to be like,
yeah,
oh, where'd you buy that? Oh, I made it myself. Wow, that's incredible. Whereas like
yeah,
Janine comes in and you're like, why did you make that? To
yeah.
wear? And which I don't know, she'd be my number one candidate for
To what
a
end? You know,
fashion club.
to
Yeah,
what end?
yeah. She wouldn't be my number one candidate to a fashion club. But we've also had moments of Janine really kind of stunning on everybody.
Hmm.
We saw her when her and Ava were dressed the same. That one time where Ava was like, "Oh, you can wear my dress," and then Janine comes out, we're like, "Okay, Janine." Like there are moments. So I was confidently, or what is it,
Cautiously,
cautiously optimistic about what it looked like for Janine to step into this role. Ava was not.
which is what I expected because if there's one person that's going to police Janine's fashion, it's going to be Ava, whose style is
Mhm.
always on point. I think, but we didn't think about it. And I think this was our mistake. We didn't think about it through the eyes of the children because we're grown. We are looking for, like our personal styles are probably a little more in touch with Ava's. Just from what we've seen. But also, Ava is not an elementary school teacher. She is a principal. So I can understand how the kids may gravitate towards Janine's style a little more. And I think that's part of what we got here. Like there's a voice for everybody. And it's clear that she likes fashion. But we've also seen a lot of growth between Janine and her sense of style over the year. As Abbott gets a better budget, now they got money.
Mhm.
So the
Yes.
wardrobe has been popping off quite lately. So I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Ava basically laughs in Janine's face and tells her that her outfit looks like it was bought at Build-A-Bear. She almost made Janine wear a uniform this
I
year.
screamed when she said that.
It's such a good joke. I'm sorry, Ava's on her neck. But Janine is determined to show everyone that she can handle this. Mr. Johnson even offers to help because he studied on the floor under and a Wintour. Like,
I believe it.
yeah, but like the floor underneath wherever she was working, he
Yes.
studied something there.
And
we also found,
adding to his lore.
Yeah, we also found out about his modeling, his measurements being 36, 24, 36, like the brick house that he is. And so he offers to be a live model.
People got that reference.
Abbott, sometimes Abbott makes really black ass references. And
yes.
the Commodore, like that's like a black ass reference just for us.
But I was like, I definitely heard those measurements right. Like, because those measurements are permanently embedded in my brain as like the ideal body standard, right?
And
like,
it's Mr. Johnson, so can we be
Mr.
shocked?
Johnson, so we knew. But I do love those. I sent you a video over this holiday weekend, which is really like Thursday, but about like their Christmas in Hollis, which I believe was from last season. It might have been, but they have a few references in there that are really just for our age group. And I love it. I love it because the kids don't appreciate what we had.
No, Abbott's not for kids. It's for us, you know. So Janine ends up bringing her trifold poster to do a presentation to Ava with a bunch of pics of Mr. Johnson as her #1 model. And though Ava says Janine isn't into fashion, she's not fashion. It's not giving. She did not eat. I think she tells her to sashay away.
Oh, it's another good one.
Yeah, these are like just Ava being really tapped into the fashion industry. Obviously, she watches Project Runway.
Yep. Oh yeah,
and she watches Drag Race. Yeah, you know, she's tapped in.
Yes. But I do think that we had some good moments. First of all, did the trifold send you back a little bit? Because like I have trifolds at my work for my students because they make like boards to advertise their clubs and organizations and everything. So it's a big deal. But I have not personally made a trifold presentation in a very long time. And this was kind of wild. Like I was, oh my God, the presentation, the trifold, that's when you know that you've made it. When you get like the 36 by 42 board that, with the heavy duty cardboard on there. It was great. And it looked like a good board, but I think Ava just had to learn a little bit from the perspective of the students that like, listen, this is for the kids. And even if Janine's style is not what Ava would look to for inspiration, except that one time that they wore the same outfit, but the kids could learn quite a lot from her, even if it's small things like just learning how to sew or learning how to put an outfit together. And they're going to develop their own sense of styles over time, which is part of the reason that she wanted a fashion club in the first place. And I kind of like that we're expanding on Abbott Elementary as a whole too. Like once they started adding clubs, I think the first one we ever heard about was the podcasting one, I think. And so I felt like that was going to be a one-off from the episode that it aired in, but it's a recurring thing. And not just that one, it's the step team, which apparently Ava has now more fully taken over, the goofballs, and now the fashion club. We probably heard of a few, the music club that Barbara runs now. So we have a few, and I'm sure there's a few that we've had mentioned here and there that we haven't been able to like really nail down yet, or that we haven't learned more about. But I think it's a nice way to add in some things to what people do at Abbott Elementary to really expand the experience for their students. And I love that. I love that this is something that we can return to.
It's a very subtle way of emphasizing the extracurricular activities at Abbott. You know, for Abbott to be a school that is impoverished in a lot of ways, the teachers are still going out of their way to use the extracurriculars to enhance the learning experience for the kids. Because we see in this episode, as you said, the kids are a little bit more open to Janine and the fashion conversation. One student even says like, her club sounds good, and if I was in that club, I might actually show up to this stank school more. And those are the things that get kids to latch on. Like every child is not going to be interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, history, those things. There are other things outside of the outside of your typical, elementary school day that kids still would enjoy. And I think, a lot of kids when they're in school, they kind of disconnect because they don't have the one thing that they're going to school that they really like, right? Like they'll go to school to be with their friends. I was definitely a kid who went to school to be with my friends. Like I only went to school because I knew that's where my friends were at. And if I didn't go to school that day, who was I going to talk to? I couldn't just talk to myself. I had to go talk to somebody. That means I had to suffer through math and reading and all those other classes that I one day came to enjoy a little bit more. But those initial days, it's just like, so I just have to come here and just like not get in trouble. Like that's all I have to do, right?
Yep.
And my mom was like, yeah, just do that. I was like, all right, bet. And so, eventually you might find something that keeps you interested, especially once you get to more elective classes. But here, very early on, we're saying that Abbott is using that as a real way to keep their kids engaged. And we will see more of that through this episode, especially when involving the Goof Girl, Cece. She is being introduced to the garden goofballs because she doesn't really think music class is for her. She doesn't, she's probably not going to do the step team, but she does think that gardening would be fun. She says the podcast club would be fun for some people, but it's for people who can't sit in silence. And I don't know, Cece, this might be a personal attack on us.
Cece listens to the Recap Kickback podcast, confirmed, because we are both notorious yappers, right? Like we know we can't sit in silence. That's not our thing.
No.
That's why we do this, because now we have scheduled time to hang out and talk about our favorite show and to yap before and after said podcast.
It's basically work now. Like we've made this is our pastime. We're having a good time, but also like, look, it's productive. So, I don't know, Cece, you gotta get off my neck
a little bit, Cece.
Right, lower your voice. So, Gia, would you do a gardening club if you were in elementary school, or are you like automatically going to the podcasting club?
I don't think I would have been in the podcasting club when I was their age. I probably would have been more like, I don't know if I would have done any of these clubs, but maybe I would have been like persuaded into step team, maybe. But yeah, I don't think I would have been like gardening specific, but I liked the idea that they have kind of like a wide range of interest in here that may not always be the first thing you think of when you think of a student club. I do remember because when I went to Catholic school when I was in my elementary years, and they had like, it was like every Friday for like the last hour of school, they would do clubs, and I was in student council. That was my club that I chose to be in. And it worked out well. You got to do like little trips here and there, which was the main reason that I picked it. And it also seemed like the thing where you didn't really have to learn a skill. It was more like use the skills you already have. So I was all for that.
So here we have kind of, I don't know, like to me, this kind of feels like a bit of a role reversal, because the running joke here is that the goofballs are a bunch of boys who are into gardening. Whereas when I was like growing up back in my day, it like, I don't think gardening was the first thing I would think were like a bunch of boys to be around. Like, I mean, I think they even kind of say like, oh, well, Cece's into flowers. And they're like, oh, that's for girls. Like, do you know where you are?
Yeah. But you know what? I think it actually told me a little bit about the gardening club, because this originally started with, there's like a group of students that liked hanging out in Gregory's classroom, right? Like that. And then they kind of expanded into the program that we have today. But also kind of what you were already speaking about, Chappell, this is a group that they get to go hang out with at after school hours, and they get to hang out with their friends. Like, it's not necessarily, they learn some stuff that I think is valuable information, but that's not the real reason that they are there. It's because they have an activity to do, they keep their hands busy, but really it's about they're getting to hang out with their friends. And for a while, they thought that this was a space to just hang out with other guys, because there was never a girl. They never had the concern that a girl would join this club. But now we have somebody that has entered because they have a genuine interest in gardening and think that might be an area of interest for her. And now they have to actually contend with like a change in this group. Like they have to, it's not just their friends hang out with their friends anymore. It's that they have to actually interact with someone that they probably don't know very well.
Yeah, this was just the hangout spot for them, and now they have to embrace it as an actual club, right? Like there are things we have to do here, and that means be inclusive and talk about gardening. It's like, okay, they've been willing to suffer through talking about gardening because they could at least do it with their friends, with the boys. But now this girl is here, and they have not quite figured out how to talk to girls yet at their age. I think there's like some type of weird bell curve, right? Like when their kids are very small, they're all the same. We're all the same. We're all just kids. We all like the same stuff. Then at some point, society's like, you like this, and you like this, and you like this, and you like this. And then hormones start kicking in and stuff like that. It's just like, who are these other creatures? You know, like I don't quite know them. I don't want them to be away all the time, but I don't want to speak to them.
Yeah. Like I don't want to interact with them, but I know they'll have some importance in my life in the later years. Yes, but I think they're at that point where it's like you get to the age where instead of everybody being the same, you're not quite there, where I wasn't sure if this was going to be an episode initially where it's like someone has a crush on CC or something like that, but they're not quite there yet. They're more at the stage where girls like a specific list of things and then they hang out with other girls and that's it. And boys like a specific list of criteria and they hang out with other boys and that's it. And maybe you have like a few kids that are willing to like go into like boys liking what are quote unquote girl things and girls liking things that are quote unquote boy things, but they still stick out a little bit just because they're in that stage where this person isn't following the list of rules that really society, but we think it's like us telling each other what they could like. And you can see that with this conundrum here where they're like, oh, she likes flowers because flowers is a girl thing, obviously. But like
gardening, landscaping is for men.
Yes. But all of this is about like all of this falls under the umbrella of gardening. So it makes sense that they would be talking about. And also, who doesn't like flowers? These kids are sociopaths. Like, what are we doing? Flowers are wonderful. But you can't say that when you're 12 and I don't even know how old these kids are. I don't know how old kids look. And everyone's 12 to me. But they're like these are young kids. They're still figuring things out and they haven't quite gone into the territory yet of like we can have mixed gender friend groups yet. That's more of a you start figuring out that stuff in like high school age.
Yeah, there was that like that period of like girls rule, boys drool, like people used to say that kind of stuff. It just the 90s were odd time, y'all. It just was. So
the gender wars were fierce in the 90s.
Yeah, and now it seems like Abbott is really embracing kind of like the blurring of those lines in a way that like a lot of shows just didn't back then. It would be like such a big storyline if like a guy was like, oh, you're doing ballet. I think maybe that was like Boy Meets World or something like that, where I think Corey was doing like he was in the play or something like that. Everyone's like, why are you in the play? It was something to that effect. But yeah,
this is all PHSM pre-High School Musical, where we learned that boys could be in theater and play basketball.
No. Stick to the status quo, Gia. You have to just stick to what you know. Well, anyway, we know the words.
I didn't know we didn't know boys could bake before that before that song. Like things changed. Lives were changed then.
And now I bake all the time. I wake and bake. I just do it just here and there. So there's even a little bullying going on. They're trying to mark their territory here. There's this moment where they hide CC's basil plant, and Gregory almost laughs when they tell her. They're like, it's a joke. And when Gregory almost laughs, there are moments where I feel seen by Gregory. Yeah. Well, one, it's a lot of this is his demeanor as an educator. I'm a no-nonsense educator when it comes to kids. Like, because I know me, I'm very whimsical and fun. And if I let them into that, they won't take me seriously. Yeah. So I have to no, we don't laugh in my classroom. I have to kind of shut it down. But I am also a child. And so sometimes I have to laugh if something is just objectively stupid or funny. Yeah. And when he almost laughed at the joke, I said, yeah, this feels about right. It's really hard to police yourself around kids because they're cartoon characters.
It's hard because that if you are just your full self to them, that they're going to walk all over you because they know, then they know you have an air of whimsy to you. You get like, you like to chuckle, you know, like I can't let my students know that I have a sense of humor, not right away. They have to learn the rules and responsibilities first before they understand that like I too laugh on occasion. So it's hard. And it's like, if this were just friends ragging on other friends, it would be one thing. And that's kind of where I like it. You could also, you know, I also chuckled a little bit seeing this, but this isn't friends ragging on friends. It's them pointing out that like this person is an outsider and we want them to not feel comfortable and to leave the group so that we can go back to the dynamic we had before, which is where it becomes tricky for people like us that have to oversee students in this type of environment. And it's easier when they're older. Like I work with college students, so it's not that same level of concern here, but with kids this age, they're still figuring a lot out.
Yeah. Luckily for them, Gregory has put his foot down. He's like, no, we're going to be an inclusive space. We're going to be welcoming to everybody. And so he's not going to allow the goofballs to keep the goof girl out too much longer. Janine even comes and tries to offer Cece a spot in her new club, but Cece is good with the Garden Goofballs. She's, you know, kind of starting to fit in a little bit. And we even see that some of the boys that are in the other clubs might be more suitable for the fashion club. We see one boy, I think Ava says he stays dripped out, okay, and like he would be a perfect candidate for Janine's club. So we get some mixing and mingling across the way, and again, typical gender roles being broken down a little bit.
That wasn't very woke of you, Janine.
Yeah, was you assuming that this boy didn't want to be in the fashion club? It's crazy because look, young Chappell was not dressing. I had nothing, no drip. It was very sad, very broke, very swagless. It was sad. The new Chappell, current Chappell, I'm not going outside if I can't put that shit on. You know, like it's just leave me where I was at. Leave me in my sweatpants and my hoodie, because if I have to put on clothes, if I have to iron, I'm gonna look good.
Yeah, middle school Gia was still figuring stuff out, right? But like me today, I would have ran that fashion club with an iron fist. They would have been wishing they worked for Anna Wintour.
Exactly. So yeah, Gianni switches over to the fashion club, and the goofballs embrace Cece, and Ava even takes a look at Janine's lookbook and starts to embrace a little bit of some of the looks that Ava has come up with. I mean, what Janine has come with these Ava inspired looks, I guess. So that's the thing. Janine has like the perfect like eye for what looks good on Ava, and Ava's the perfect muse. So now Ava's all in on Janine being in charge of the fashion club.
I mean, this was basically Ava's idea if you don't think about it that hard.
Right, exactly.
Like she was the inspiration for the club. We get it. You know, like everything goes back to Ava and Mr. Johnson.
She just didn't want Janine's head to get too big, and that's understandable.
I understand. Yes, she's been known to have a very big ego at times.
Yes. So the last thing I want to talk about is that Melissa and Barb, we've made a new friend, Miss Alomar. Yes. Tell me, what was your experience with Miss Alomar in this episode?
I loved it. This was amazing because as someone that does not want to get involved too deeply with work outside of like what my work criteria is, you know, like whatever my job description says that I'm supposed to do, a little gossip goes a long way. And they pulled her in hook, line, and sinker so easily with their guy drama because she realized that, you know, their solutions to things may be the result of some generational trauma, not really the healthiest thing that they could be doing, but it's all under the guise of girl talk. So she is kind of therapizing them. I don't know what the
I think therapize.
Yeah,
I think
therapizing them.
Yeah,
she's giving them a therapy treatment without them knowing that it's a therapy treatment, and it's like her little pet project here to kind of steer them away from some of the age-old less healthy methods of communication between people, and then offering some new solutions here. And it was amazing. It was hilarious. As someone that hates the silent treatment, I like it will work on me every time because the minute you do not talk to me for 10 minutes, I'm gonna lose my shit. Right? Like,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I
Interesting.
yeah, no, don't write that down. I hate the silent treatment. It's quite literally the worst thing you can do. I hate being that petty. But this was great. This was amazing. I loved it. And I love that we got to see more of her. I love when they add more of the Abbott Elementary like staff into it. Like this is one of my favorite things that they do with the show. We saw a lot of it last season with Miss Inez, Cree Summers. We've seen
Yes.
it with the cafeteria workers, who are my favorites. We've seen it, obviously, Mr. Morton is playing like a bigger role within the cast, kind of being like the like the foil to all of the rest of the cast members in there. So it's great to see. And I love that they did this again. It just made me happy. And I'm really excited to see. We'll talk about how the next episode ends, but I'm really excited to see how we get to see some of these other staff members in this new environment we can prepare for in our after our winter break is over.
Yes. Miss Alomar, her this central conflict with Miss Alomar that she has to explore with Barbara and Melissa is that Barbara is using the silent treatment to punish Captain Robinson for forgetting Sweet Pea's birthday. I know you said you hate the silent treatment. To me, I'm kind of indifferent to it. Like if you don't talk to me, I'll just find somebody else to talk to, or I'll talk to myself. Like I'm gonna figure it out. But I think that that's the problem, right? Is that some people are not going to respond to the silent treatment because in and of itself it's a little contradictory. It's like I am not talking to you, thus you will never know that what you said or did something to me that offended me, because I won't say that you did a thing that was offensive, right? And Captain Robinson probably has no way of possibly knowing that it was Sweet Pea's birthday. I'm sure Melissa has said that, but he thought to himself, well, that is merely a small rodent. I don't have any reason to memorize that date, and has gone on about his business. And now she's not speaking to him, which, depending on who the guy is, he might enjoy a little peace and quiet, a little silence. I know that people who have dealt with me in the past have been like, it's nice when you're not talking because you talk a lot. And so, I just feel like it's an ineffective way of doing things in general. It ain't for me, but I will give the silent treatment, because that's one thing about a yapper is that when I stop talking, people notice. If I am talking constantly, everybody's like, everything's okay. If there is not this just random, just constant buzzing that is Chappelle's voice, people will say, "Is he okay? Is he sick? Is something okay?" And it will get your attention. So yeah, I would love to say I am more adult than that, but I really will just be like, I'm just not. I can't give myself. You can't have my joyous energy and all of this whimsy and fun if you piss me off. We got to talk about it. Now I will tell you what's wrong with me, but my initial response is I will not talk to you. I will talk to anybody else.
Yes. First and foremost, Team Melissa on this, because you know that Sweet Cheeks is important to Melissa. So if you know that Sweet Cheeks' birthday is important to Melissa, then you have to remember Sweet Cheeks' birthday. Okay, put a reminder on your phone.
I didn't even remember that damn thing's name. I called it Sweet Pea. His name is Sweet Cheeks.
And you know it's important to Melissa, Chappell. So you know you need to remember Sweet Cheeks' full government name.
That's fine.
Sweet Cheeks Chimenti, and I assume there's a middle name. And Sweet Cheeks Marie Chimenti, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming.
However, like Team Melissa on that, but also you're much better than me with the silent treatment, because I think if I gave this, if I've ever tried to do the silent treatment, it's for like maybe half a day before I'm like, why is no one mad at me that I'm mad? Like it would just be like, hello, like, and then I have to throw in like a remark in there somewhere. Like I can't do it. My patience just wears so thin with it. Like I hate it when it's done to me, but I know that if I try to do it in the reverse, it's gonna like just give it half a day. I'm gonna want to yell at you at some point. Like I can't do it. I'm not strong enough for the silent treatment. They were talking about doing it for days, like hour. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I have a short memory. For me, like I will like be like, I'm not talking to that person. I remember that. And then like a week later, I've now forgotten that I know that person exists because I have now moved on to the next shiny thing. And they're like, are you mad at me? I'm like, yes, I am. Why? I can't, I don't quite know. I just know I'm mad. And maybe it's not even that big of a deal anymore. Like I forgive very easily. I really do.
I don't.
But it's because I just forget. Well, I be forgetting what happened.
it's not about like forgiving, but it's like I need to talk it out. Like the last guy that I dated, which was a while ago, you know, right? Like this was a while, like flub communication on like where we were going for a date or like what time it was. And I was like so mad at him. I was like, I am not talking to you right now. And then like a day later, I'm like, I want to talk about this and you will listen. Like I needed to yell. I needed to yell. And it was important to me that you hear how mad I am. Even if you don't care, I care. And I'm going to ruin your day just a little bit, you know, like I'm going to inconvenience you at least for this 12-hour period.
Fair.
And then I feel better. Yeah. A nice yelling session never hurt anyone.
This feels healthy.
We have very healthy coping. We do not need Miss Alamar's takes. I think we've already figured this out ourselves.
Exactly. Although she is wonderful and very tall. So let's get into episode 8, birthday.
I also just separate. So I wanted to also say, I do feel like tall women just know more than me. So like I'm more like willing to take their advice, I think. Like if I want to be messy, I'll go to my short friends. But when I have like a tall, like if I want to be messy or just vent, I feel like my short friends have my back. But when I need like actual sage advice, like you just have to have a tall woman in your life to like process your like actually give you healthy advice, you know?
Yeah, I surround myself by small women. You know, Sasha, these people are very short, such that the anger gets to their heads a lot faster.
Yeah, like it's good to have a tall friend in the rotation to give more sound advice, like a tall woman. But our friend group speaks for itself, I think.
There you go. These people, and these are the women that are leading the group. They are in charge. Ask anybody, and I'm like, call them. They got it.
We don't know where we're going, but we know we're gonna have a good time.
Exactly. So let's get to episode 8. It's Janine's birthday. She's turning 30. This is a big deal. And so she's going to be celebrating this with her loved one. And her mom is back. We got Taraji back on our screens here at Abbott Elementary. I know you were happy to see Taraji.
I'm always happy to see Taraji. Contrary to popular, like her and Keith David fall in the same umbrella of the show. Like I know they are trying to make me hate these characters.
Never.
But you made a mistake casting Taraji and Keith David because I would forgive them for almost anything, right? Like they've provided enough work in my life that like it's going to take a lot more than them not being there as parents, them failing their children for me to not forgive them. You know, like I'm sorry. She gave you a 20, Janine.
She gave you a 20. This is the 30th anniversary of her creating a whole ass person, and Taraji should be celebrated for that. But Barb doesn't seem happy to see Miss Vernetta back. She knows that with her comes a little drama, and Vernetta gave us so much in this episode. Her just kind of being so dismissive of Gregory as a partner is so funny to me because she's like, Gregory seems like on paper like a pretty decent guy, right? Doesn't have a lot of like vices and things of that nature that are harmful. He's not swearing profusely. Yeah,
this seems like the ideal guy you would want your child to date, right? Like this is the type of person you want your child to get on with, to be in a relationship. He has a job,
right?
He's nice,
very safe.
He actually takes an interest in her interests. Like there's a lot going for her, but she's just going on and on about how Janine was a fool to let go of Tariq.
He was a rapper.
He was.
He could
have ended all of drug use in America if they had just given them a little more time.
Or at least Janine could have been with a baller. We don't know what Tariq's rap, what his rap career would have led to. So Vernetta was making points. Yeah, Vernetta was making points. She's like, would you rather be dating this elementary school teacher at this broken down school? We will talk about this school completely in just a second. Or would you rather be with this rapper who, with all his money and his lavish fame, jet setting across the world and being like at the concerts and at the parties and Saint Tropez on the beach and stuff like that? Like, she's like, Janine, girl, what are you doing? You supporting the wrong side here. You're supposed to be like leaning into Tariq's delusions of grandeur.
Yeah. And I will say, as much as I disagreed with Vernetta this episode, she was right about the broken down school part. You know, like we cannot fault. They made sure to let us know that she was not wrong about that part.
Yeah, Abbott is falling apart. The furnace is broken, and Mr. Johnson has been trying to get them to fix it for a while. The repairman comes and says, "Y'all need to shut this school down." But Ava is not shutting the school down on the last day before break. She just needs to make it through the day. It only needs to be replaced today because today is the day they got there. I thought that was a fascinating way of looking at this problem. She's like,
Yeah.
"We've been calling y'all for weeks. And if y'all showed up 3 weeks ago, y'all would have said this needs to be replaced today, and that would have been a 3 week ago problem. But today, all of a sudden, it is the most dire thing in the world, and thus, I think we can let it wait one more day. I think like had you
Yeah.
gotten here tomorrow, you'd be saying we have to shut it down tomorrow. So she's like, no, we're just gonna get through this. We're gonna get through the winter shows, and then we'll worry about that because then the district will have the entire break to get this fixed, and we won't have to uproot ourselves at all. Now, sadly, Ava is wrong. And this doesn't happen often. But Mr. Johnson,
First time in the show's history.
if you have to trust either Ava or Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, I have to give the seniority pool to
pains
Mr.
me
Johnson.
to say it, but it does have to be Mr. Johnson. He's just lived so many lives. He knows he has a whole system for the heating and air system that they have in there with all the Boys to Men labels in there. Like it makes sense. He knew what he was talking about.
Exactly.
I will say though that if I was a student at Abbott Elementary, this would have been my favorite day of school. Like, you think about it, like it's the day before Christmas. We're not doing any work. I get to go to like a different classroom and just watch Christmas movies all day. And we get to end the day early because there's a Christmas show with purple everywhere. Like this would have been my favorite day.
I remember vaguely because it's so long ago when I was a wee lad. I actually wasn't a child for long. I was basically just grown. Born in the know, but there was a time where I was in elementary school, and I remember the electricity was out in the school because like I think it's some type of animal had climbed into or like gnawed on something or whatever, and so because of it, we had no power the entire day, and they couldn't. And it wasn't something where they could go in and fix the grid. Like it wasn't like they could fix it from the outside. Like they had to come into the school and fix it. So for hours of the day, we were just sitting in darkness. And as a child, this is my dream, right? I'm at this building that I don't want to be at anyway, because I only came here to talk to my friends. And now you really can't even just teach me like you want to because there's no electricity. We're sitting here in the dark. The windows are all open and we can see, there's obviously natural light in most of this building, but the lesson plan to me, I feel like we're a little off task here. Like we don't have the overhead projector. How are we going to do the things? And so I really did enjoy kind of just being uprooted from the monotony of every day being come to class, do the things, right? So I too probably would have enjoyed this a lot. They end up moving the kids down and putting them all in the same classroom. There's so many people around. Again, I'm very social, Gia. Like there's so many people to meet and stuff like that. Like I would have thought, like I made so many friends with the big kids. They all came to our classroom. This would have been perfect for me, but this was really bad for Abbott. So much to where by the end of this episode, we are looking at relocating Abbott to another venue. And Gia, what do you think about this venue that we end up landing on?
I love it because it makes so much sense because we are kind of living, it's a mall for anybody wonder. It's a mall that has not been opened in years. And I live in an area with a dead mall. They tore it down. They're now making it like a BJ's or something like that. They're turning a whole bunch. Did you ever see the South Park episode about gentrification?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, basically, they built it all around for people that have not seen South Park. Kenny, the character in the orange parka, always dies. He's known for being poor. Like that's his other personality trait is that he is like the poor kid. Love him to death. That is my favorite South Park character. Mm-hmm. But they gentrify his neighborhood and turn the entire place into like this area with like malls and shops, and it's called the Villas at Kenny's house. And that's basically anytime, like it's happening in my neighborhood right now too. And so anytime I see them doing construction, I send a picture to my friend, say that they're making a Villas at Kenny's house. Mm-hmm. And that's basically like what's going to happen with this mall in the future, but it makes sense. It's a big space. It is not in use, and it's got enough area for students to be housed there for the school day. I thought it was a really funny idea of like something to use the mall for. However, the kids are not going to learn anything while they're there. There's absolutely no way they're going to get like any information done at that point. Like they need to get into their old school as soon as possible.
It's funny. I want to kind of look into this and see if they've ever done this in real life. You know, if there's like, are there like elementary schools that have ever been converted to a mall just in the interim? Because if not, this is such a inventive way of Abbott to really kind of explore some of these issues that they have at the school. We've seen like normal stuff, charter schools coming in and just neighborhood issues and strikes and stuff like that affecting the kids, affecting the school. We've even seen like budget issues, but to have an elementary school take place in a mall for a temporary amount of time, to me, I don't know, like who could think something like this up? Like, so to me, this has to happen. Like it has to happen somewhere.
I kind of agree. I think that there's definitely a world where, they've had to have schools that are not in use for one reason or another, and they've had to find other places to hold the schools. So I don't know, but I think it's a really clever way to talk about this issue too.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay. Let's see. There is a Maryvale Mall that was in Phoenix, Arizona. The mall was located on 51st Avenue, and it was sold in the late 1990s to the Cartwright Elementary School District. It says the school district opened an elementary school and a middle school on the property between 2000 and 2001, and a former skating rink at the mall was converted to the district's first gymnasium, while a former movie theater became an auditorium. The parking lots were converted to athletic fields. Gia, I'm sorry. Now I kind of think malls are the ideal location for schools because the way they just turned the movie theater in there into an auditorium, it's inventive.
Okay,
but
they already have the seats in the movie. That's not as impressive as you think it is.
Right, it's a movie theater is basically already an auditorium. So like now they have one. It's like, what doesn't it have? The skating rink is now the gym. I can see that happening.
Yes, but I personally do not think that if you are moving these kids temporarily into a space, like this is not the new school. This is like the temporary move-in space to the school while their building that's actually designed to be a school is getting renovated, right?
Yes.
They are not like, would I have an amazing time in those 2 weeks that we're stuck at a mall? Yes. Would I learn anything? Tell me what I learned during mall school. No, I can't tell you anything. No. I don't know, maybe fractions. I don't remember.
Maybe. And
I was trying to slide down the escalator.
I was gonna say, God forbid the escalator actually works. If the escalator works, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm never going to class. I'm up, I'm down. I'm up, I'm down. I'm up, I'm down. That's it. I don't know if every kid is built for a mall school, but Chappell would have been right at home there. Again, someplace nice and huge for me to run around and try to not, do school stuff. I am very interested to see how Abbott tackles the idea that these kids now have to get to mall school, right? Which is going to be outside of a lot of their routes. Everybody is not going to be like, it's not like the mall is directly across from the school. So that might be an issue, but then also now you have a large amount of kids in a huge ass space that's probably hard to confine, kids to. I really don't know how you keep the kids from running amok, but I would love to see it. And so I think we'll get more of that in the second part of season 5, because episodes 9 and 10 are Mall and Mall Part 2, Questions and Concerns, and then followed by Mall Part 3, Heroes. So with having heroes, I kind of hope that nothing like terrible happens in this old mall, but also I think Abbott will handle it okay.
Do I think anyone's going to get hurt where they're going to be like out of commission on the show?
No.
But I expect Jacob's going to fall down a few stairs at some point. I
can see that.
Yeah, like there's probably maybe Gregory if they want to give Jacob a break for a little bit, but There will definitely be some shenanigans happening, and will I think this is the safest environment for our teachers? No, but they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. Let's talk about Vanetta's shenanigans. Now, we already talked about how she's not really a fan of Gregory because this man can't even get promoted from 2nd to 3rd grade. Like, what are we doing? But we also know that she's not really interested in making a connection with Janine. She's kind of just pushing Janine to do what she wants her to do or be who she wants her to be. There's a moment where she meets Gregory, and I think she's even asking him like, so like are your side bitches okay with this? And he's like, I don't have any side bitch, like he's like, I don't really talk like that, but also like, what? I don't really know.
Still a wild thing to ask. So the person that is dating your daughter.
Yeah, he doesn't cheat, and apparently he doesn't have low T either, which was a concern of Vanetta's as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair, but also, like we've been talking up the Janine Gregory relationship for a very long time. This is something we have been waiting for a while. We knew from the beginning that Tariq and Janine were not meant to last.
Yeah.
So to have this woman come in that, again, to her point, is played by Taraji P. Henson, and like just poo-poo on everything that we've worked so hard for. Like, Vanetta was not with us during the trying times, right? She was not there in the all-flower room at the conference, at the teachers' conference, right? Like, she was not with us through the tried and true, like, difficult times of watching this relationship form. So she doesn't understand what we understand, that Janine and Gregory not being made for each other is the equivalent of you just telling me that love is not real for anyone.
Right.
Because like if it God forbid the show ever ended with them not staying together forever, like I've thrown in the towel with dating. If it can't happen for them, it's not happening for me.
She's just not a fan of whatever this is. And you're right. She wasn't in the trenches with us through the will they, won't they parts of their relationship. When Janine tells her mom she wants to buy a house, her mom's like, girl, let that go. And honestly, I was like, Vanetta would kind of be making a little I've decided home ownership is not in my future. Like it's not a thing. That's not a thing for me, but it's something that Janine wants, right? Like she just feels like, she was looking for the perfect guy so she could have the perfect guy and then she could get the house and then they could build a family. And these are the steps that she wants to take. And her mom kind of poo-pooing them is really starting to get under her skin, but it's also starting to get under Barbara's skin. And Barbara, we know, is the work mom that stepped up. So she's kind of stepping in now to be like, all right, Vanetta, your time here is done. You can go while I'll be the mom that Janine needs in this moment.
Yeah. Listen, logistical reasons against home ownership aside, like it's the way that she is knocking down Janine's dreams. Like there are very obvious reasons why Janine wants those things, right? Like, I mean, like for one, it's a goal that a lot of people have to like get married, buy a house, have kids and everything. But also this was not the way she grew up. She does not know her dad. Her mom like was in and out of relationships all the time. It sounds like it was a very combative household because her and her sister were fighting all the time. And I think a lot of the things that she wants makes a lot of sense because she wants something that she never had growing up. Also, she really wanted to like build a life for herself and build a family and do all this other stuff. But Vanetta is also kind of blaming her daughters for things not working out for her the way she wanted. Like thinking specifically about how she was saying that like Janine and her sister would drive the men away, that they were annoying kids, which like, first of all kids are annoying. Don't put this on them. But like also, but like, she's putting the blame on the kids for her romantic situations not working out, or for, some of the things in her life not working out the way they wanted to, instead of her own choices, or thinking that Janine should settle for things, and it comes off very narcissistic. It comes off very unsupportive, but really just some doubts or hate of her own, and that there's some jealousy in there of Janine actually being happy with her life, with her relationship, with her job. And it doesn't look exactly how Vanetta thinks it should, but that's a good thing because they're not the same people.
Yeah. I well said. I think for Vanetta, she made a life that Janine doesn't necessarily embrace, and she's like, I kind of want to do something differently in a way that I think is a little bit more healthy. And Vanetta is just kind of concerned. She knows her daughter. She knows she's annoying. She said, you're annoying, right, baby? Like, you get that. So she's very surprised that Gregory and Janine have found each other. But if he likes the real you, the annoying you, then I think you got to keep him. And I think Janine knows that Gregory knows the annoying Janine and he likes it. And so she does tell her mom, like, you don't have to come with us to dinner. Her mom does seem like she's a little bothered by that, but she doesn't stick around long. Barbara will end up taking her place and being invited to dinner to go with Janine and Gregory. And I think Janine is just kind of building that found family that a lot of people who didn't have a typical family when they were growing up, this is what they do, right? You replace or you fill the void of some of those people and those relationships that you didn't have with the people who are willing to give you those.
Yeah, and I think that this is great. I love the found family trope, and I think that this is a lot of growth for a lot of people, because thinking back to season 1 where everyone was pushing so hard against the idea that they were a work family or any type of relationship that had the word family in it. But you can't deny that Barbara is not, like, one, doing more of a role, like taking on more of a responsibility than her job requires here. And also that she is happy to be a part of Janine's life, celebrating these goals, and also defending her for having these dreams. Whether or not they are realistic or not is an entirely different matter. But the fact that she's supporting her, and we are getting a little bit of a work family here. I'm actually kind of shocked Jacob didn't immediately jump on the opportunity to be the third wheel here. But it's okay. It makes for a better end to this episode that Barbara is going with them to celebrate as her work mom.
Yeah, I think Jacob doesn't jump in on this because he's too invested in this winter show where the theme is. I'm not quite sure what happened here. So the theme is the color purple because there's purple everywhere. It looks like Crown Royal bags scattered across the cafeteria. They sit kind of in a circle and they stand up round robin side. Yeah, like it's, and then, but what is what?
I have thoughts. This was fantastic. I want to give just like a special shout out to the parent and or guardian figure that said theater and around. Now that is theater. Like, I love her. That was my favorite line of this entire episode. But like, Jacob is doing this very experimental thing. And so I went to high school at a performing arts high school, and I was like a theater centered kid. So we learned a lot about like the type of different theaters there are, one of which is theater and around, and very artsy, very difficult to pull off if you don't know what you're doing. But it can be a really enjoyable experience. It's definitely too advanced for an elementary school, right? Like the way that this is done, but it's a little bougie. It's kind of funny. It's funny that the parents are into it too, and that there's like this, that this is so over the top. And Jacob is kind of just running around, like, seeing how ridiculous he can make it. It's not Christmas or any holiday specific, which may be what he's going for here. But it's just definitely not for an elementary school environment. Not because it's inappropriate, just because it's like, it's very advanced. And like, it doesn't really seem like your general, like everyone sings like a holiday song or something like that. But it's supposed to be the responsibility of Jacob and Gregory to put this together, but Gregory doesn't have any opinions and would really just rather let Jacob take the reins on all of this and be the one putting all of these ideas together. And I think Jacob is trying to get a reaction from Gregory, which is such best friend material. Like, I'm sorry, they're besties. You can't take that away from me. And he wants Gregory to care more. So part of the reason that this is done is so that at the very least, Gregory can at least start to have an opinion about these things, even though he doesn't think that he needs to have one.
Yeah, this is Gregory not knowing Jacob. Gregory, you should know your friend better than to say that Jacob should be in charge and I have no opinion about the way he's going to do it. What have we ever seen Jacob do by himself that nobody had an opinion about that could have done a little bit differently? You know, like we're always like, Jacob, I don't know if that is the reference you should have made, or Jacob, I don't know if that's the costume you should have worn. Like everything is like Jacob does a thing, but he didn't have to do it like that. There's a way he could have done it that was a little bit more palatable or a little bit like more acceptable for the population. You know, he's trying so hard, but a lot of times he just needs somebody to help reel him in, and Gregory is that guy. So for Gregory to say, no, Jacob, you are in charge of this and I will give no opinion, stop it. That's not your role in this friendship. You're supposed to be the person who reels him in.
And we know that if there's one thing Gregory loves, it's to have an opinion, because he's tried to not have an opinion. And frankly, it's just against his nature. Like, we have seen him give his opinion many times when we see you look at that camera, sir. We know what your thoughts are. But he's trying so hard it comes off a little desperate, Gregory, that you're not giving your opinion, but we know you want to give your opinion. Like,
giving the silent treatment.
Yeah.
You know,
stop it right now. We know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, but this is a fun storyline too. That Abbott is always surprising us with how bad the building is. When the fake snow started coming down and it was just dust, is an incredible moment.
That was so fun. I laughed so hard at that because I was so caught off guard, because it did feel like a Jacob thing to have fake snow for this. Like, sprinkle a little flour down or something like that. Like, I really thought that this was a Jacob thing. And when they're like, oh no, that's the ceiling, I screamed. Like,
they got to get these kids out of this school. We're going to have a serious conversation about Abbott Elementary and the state of the actual school, but I'm sure that conversation will come up in the next few weeks as we discuss what it looks like when Abbott moves to a mall. But Gia, that's what our episodes 8 and 9, just in time for the Kwanzaa season. You have anything else to add before we start to wrap this up?
Yes. Next season, because we know we're going to have at least 10 seasons to talk about in the future. I would like a Kwanzaa special, we need the Proud Family roots to come into this. Okay. I want a Kwanzaa episode. We never get them anymore. I miss like the 90s, early 2000s era cartoons that had like a mandated Kwanzaa episode in there. Abbott Elementary, make it happen. That's my note to you.
Yes. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out was that I saw, I don't know if was this one of the reels, the mini reels that you and I sent back and forth about Abbott Elementary, but where they were talking about how the kids are not child actors, or at least they weren't when the show started. Ava was talking about, Janelle James was talking about how in Hollywood, it's really hard to find darker skinned child actors, because who's like typically that demographic is like coming from like a bunch of wealth, and they don't have the parents that have the money to take them to acting class and to take them to shoots and to get them to and from school and this, that, and other for all of that kind of stuff. So they had to use actual students, because like
I love that.
Yeah, they were like, we need these kids to be representative of the population, and we can't have a bunch of like light-skinned kids running around here that all have acting backgrounds, because it'd be hard to make that realistic for the show. And so now many of them are child actors because of their time being on Abbott for several seasons in a row.
Which makes me so happy, because, you have a feeling that there are probably some kids in there that are like paid extras, like they're going to be compensated for their time. And we know that not everybody that is a child actor decides that they want to pursue acting as they get older. But this is such a great opportunity for them to, as they are getting into that field, if they decide they want to pursue acting moving forward, that they are going to have an acting credit for a show that is very positively received under their belt. Some of them have these really good like shining moments. I think the show does a really good job. They obviously have a few kids that are like, the reoccurring characters, like Courtney's actress. But there's a lot of opportunities in there for different students to shine. And it makes me really happy that we have that opportunity for them too. And it makes sense that these would not all be professional actors to start.
Yeah. Well, good on them. Do we have a star actor of the of the 2 episodes? We normally do
I know
that.
it's not a child, but I really want to give it to the mom that knew what theater and around was. I love her. Oh God, I'm trying to think what the kids did these past 2 episodes.
I think the goofballs probably get it, right? Just
Yeah.
the conversation, and you can include Cece in that for sure. But I think just like the conversation about how goofballs were obviously a boy club because balls.
Yeah.
That was like the joke
And
for
like,
me of the episode.
also, like, that is definitely a thing that kids would assume, and with like no question about it. Be like, yeah, obviously our teacher would name a club after balls to indicate that it's a boys club.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like,
so
makes total sense.
I think the goofballs definitely for the first episode. Kids weren't really in the second episode. So I think like it's good for them to kind of take the crowning moment. Whatever kid ate the asbestos snow also gets my any of the kids that ate the ceiling snow also get my vote, because that is God's strongest soldier there.
Absolutely. So that's it. Thank you all for listening to us talk about these 2 episodes for Abbott. Of course, as you know, we are coming back with more Abbott Elementary. I believe there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 5 or 6 more episodes left in this next half. And so we will be back several other times to talk about those things. I haven't decided yet how to approach the mall. I don't know if we should just talk about Mall Part 1 by itself and then Mall 2 and 3 together, but we can get to all of that.
Yeah, let's see how long the mall storyline goes for, because I'm kind of curious how long that's actually going to. I don't think it'll be a full second half of the season thing.
No, I don't think so either. I think by the time they're done with Part 3, which will bring us to the end of January, I think they'll be probably about done with that. But in the meantime, Gia, what do you have going on in your world?
Yes. LaTanya and I, for those being like, what happened to Survivor 49 coverage? LaTanya and I are still on, I don't know about that, on Silent Podcast, talking about Survivor 48. The holidays just kind of threw us for a loop a little bit with scheduling. So we will be back soon to talk about the finale. Christine and I put out our last article of the season about Survivor 49 on Inside Survivor. And I am super excited to announce that I have launched a Substack that I'm sure we will have Chappell featured in the future, called Bet on Black. It is about blackness in reality TV. I'm going to talk a little bit about some pop culture stuff as well. But if you love pop culture, if you love the things that we talk about on Abbott Elementary, a lot of that is going to switch over to the Survivor world, or to Big Brother, or some of these other shows that are happening as well. So if you would like to stay on top of it, please give us a follow on Substack on Bet on Black. It is completely free. There are no paid subscriptions or anything like that. So I highly encourage people to follow, and that's where I'll be doing some of the work that I'm more passionate about in written form. So I'm very excited for that. Also, I just want to kind of take a moment, just on a more serious note, to just mention the fact that Big Brother lost one of their contestants. We're recording this the day after Christmas, and we learned today that Big Brother 27's Mickey Lee passed away after experiencing cardiac arrest. It's a very sad loss. She was far too young, but also her family has posted information about her GoFundMe and ways that you can contribute. They're asking for privacy during this time. But if you're someone like me and Chappell who loved Big Brother 27 and want to contribute in some way, it's all over social media right now about ways that you can donate, as well as on her Instagram page. So give that a follow, but also rest in peace to Mickey.
Yeah. Same for me. Rest in peace, and take care of yourselves.
Yes,
life is too short. All that good stuff. As for me and Recap Kickback, 2026 is going to be a very different year here, Recap Kickback, but we're going to kind of try to keep some of the same content that you've come to know and enjoy and expect from us here coming. G and I, of course, will be talking about Abbott Elementary, but we will be exploring some of the content from her Bet on Black newsletter as well. So make sure you subscribe to that. Chantel and I will still be talking about the Of Love universe. She does not know this, but I believe I Love New York is next as we build toward. I think we're just going to try to build toward like I Love Money season 2 as our finale. And so we have to meet all the Avengers that will be in that season before we can talk about it. And so tune into our live coverage of the I Love of Love universe with me and Chantel here on Recap Kickback. Mari and I just finished Interview with the Vampire. That should be up. If not, it will be up very soon. And then Puya and I will have Bel Air coverage coming for you as the year kicks off. And then we will have, of course, much more content here on Recap Kickback. But I want to thank everybody for listening, for enjoying our podcast, and for supporting us in any way that you can. Stay tuned for other ways of supporting the podcast, other content, and let us know what you think. Leave us a comment, click that like button on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends, and let everybody know that you enjoyed this podcast and this kind of content so we can keep more coming your way. But that's it. Gia, class is over, and we will be back next time to talk about more Abbott Elementary in them all. So until then, peace.
I've been trapped behind the wall, Maria. Isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.